In your career in dance, how have you dealt with rejection and competition?
Rejection, competition. That question relates to what we're talking about right now. In life, you're gonna be rejected and you're gonna fail, and that's just part of life. And dance really teaches you that, and that's okay. And you just have to get back up, dust yourself off, and keep going. And you're gonna fail again. And the important part is to learn something from the failure or from the rejection, or it builds character, definitely. I would consider myself a person with tough skin, and dance definitely has built that in me. Using rejection and failure as a catapult to improving yourself as a human being, because dance is a mirror of who you are, and the way you react when you lose a battle, that tells you so much about how you can deal with rejection. And then being able to get to the point where if you lose a battle, you're just like, whatever, on to the next. Then you can apply that to your life. And when something like you're rejected in life, you're like, okay, well that was a no, then we move on to the next yes. It really like builds that in you. So like super strong. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and rejection for me is for gamers out here leveling up. Like there's a quote, and I forget who actually did it. It was one of our quote-unquote forefathers. But it was success is only gained by repeated failure. And so y'all take rejection with graciously, because the rejection shows you exactly what you need to get to the next level. If you want everything, if you were good at everything, if somebody told you you did a great job all the time, or yes all the time, you would not grow.
Right.
You wouldn't grow at all. It's the no's that make you grow. It's also the no's that tell you how bad you want it, and if you should be doing it or not. So the best thing in the world is rejection, because it fuels the fire if you allow it.
Yeah.
Amen.
Hey, can I add to that real quick?
Yeah.
To add to that, talk about maybe the importance of having goals and really defining your why, like you mentioned to him, so that way people have a better understanding of, to know who you are as a dancer and who you want to be, so that way you can get through those tough times.
Yes.
If you want to talk about that a little bit more.
That was a question.
Well, maybe if you guys do that, experience that yourself, or do it, or have written goals and go, okay, here's what I want to do. Mm-hmm. Don't you think that's important for other dancers as well to know those things, to actually get those rejections?
even if it's as vague as I want to be better, because there's always room for improvement. And for me, mastering something doesn't exist, because once you feel you've mastered something, then that drive to get better is kind of gone. And we can always improve. We can be the absolute best version of ourselves, but there's always room for improvement everywhere. And setting goals like, oh, I want to win this battle, and it's really a person-to-person thing. If you're the kind of person that is motivated by setting a date or an event goal to train for, then that's good. But also, if that time comes or that event comes and you don't get the thing out of it that you wanted to get, then that can also be detrimental, I feel like. And so just the setting goals that are that really are about who you are as a person and not just a dancer. Because then really it's like a 24/7. I'm just working on myself, and then I'm gonna let my dance reflect that.
Setting goals is very important. I used to be a person that I used to not set goals. I used to just fly by the wind and just be like live like a tree in the wind. But setting goals is what really took my career, took my personal career like to where it is. It was goal setting, because the goals help you understand. Like he said, the goals is what help you learn and understand who you are, and it brings that clarity. And like Toogie said, setting goals for events. If it does turn out like you don't want it, then you need to look at it and then reflect on why you didn't get what you wanted out of it. Because you might win and still not get what you wanted out of it.
Right.
So you need to reflect. So always, I say goals, vision boards, like you should need to constantly be visualizing whatever it is that you want, constantly. I visualize things to the point where I feel like I already have it, and I'm like feeling the joy of already having it. You know, to the point where then it comes, but it builds, and then reflect, constantly reflect on yourself. You know, reflect on things you've accomplished, things that you haven't. You know, constantly reflect on those things, because you need to understand what it means to you, what you're doing means to you. Once you understand what it means to you, that you'll weed out all the BS and all the distractions that don't need to be there. Because there's a lot of things that come our way that, you know, within us that don't need to be there, when really there's a certain focus. Because we all want to, especially dancers, we have like ADD, we want to do so many different things.
Yeah.
I wanted to do so many different things. Oh, I can dance now, so I can do this, I can do that. Oh, I want to do that too. I can do this over here. I never really got anything done. Once I found the focus, found the most tangible things that can get done quick, right away, for the separating things from short term to long term, you know, those kind of things. Really, I mean, this is you. It'd be pretty soon. This, if not, you're not already for some of you, this becomes your product. You know, so you have to really be organized. It's not just being good at what you do. It's being organized in your life all around. So like she said, it should definitely make it goals about your life. Organize and itemize your life just as much as you do your dance, so that they can go hand in hand.
Yeah, and ask yourself, when you do have this goal, why do you want to get to that goal? The why is so important. Why do you want to win this jam? Why do you want to get this move? And then when you answer that question, then that's where you really need to dig in.
Amen.
Quick example. So at the audition in New York for So You Can Do Dance, they asked me, Nigel said, why do you want to dance? Or why do you want to be on this show? And my answer to him was, because I teach students, I teach kids, and I feel like being on this show would reach out my hand further to more kids around the world. That was my goal for getting on that show. And I've achieved that goal in so many ways. But I knew that was my goal, and I wanted it so bad that I felt it, and it's happened. Like, and I'll never forget that day, because I said it, and it was something I thought about in the moment, but it was like, wow, that's what I really want, you know, and that's what I got. If I would have went on that show saying because I would have won, I'd have been a sad sourpuss, because I got nowhere near winning, you know. But I got out of it what my ultimate goal was, which is to reach my hand out in education of dance to as many people as possible. And that's where my life is going so far, so that's an example.
One more thing.
One more thing.
Because, you know, it's good stuff. Okay, so aside from dance, life in general, what Brice was talking, ProfessorLock was talking about, of visualizing the things that you want and seeing yourself in that place in any aspect of life. Whether it's how your body is or how you feel emotionally, in anything. If the power of your imagination and the power of visualizing things, you have the power to manifest anything that you want in your life. It's just about bringing yourself to that place in your head and seeing that and feeling, like how he said he felt the joy of already of having something that he doesn't have yet, but he feels like he does. That is the key to manifesting the things that you want in your life. I just wanted to say that.
Amen. And just to give you a parallel on that, and Brice actually knows exactly what I'm talking about. I set a goal for myself to win a jam back in January. Yeah. Yeah. And you see, the whole point of me setting this goal to win this jam was I need to prove that all the traveling I did this past year made me a better person, made me a better dancer, you know. So I was like, by winning this jam, by getting first place, because I got second place before I traveled, if I get first place, it proves that I got better. And that doesn't actually prove that I got better. It doesn't at all. Because the person that I lost to last year, that I got second place to, he didn't even make it past the prelims this year. And that should say something, not to compare, but that should say something about the level of dancing this year versus the last year. But I set the goal, I have to win this because that says this. And in reality, it didn't say that. And because I set a goal that wasn't even in the realm of who I want to be or what I want to do, like I don't care about winning jams. So why am I setting a goal to win a contest? So I want to be better. I can find some other measurement to be better. I can just look at myself in the mirror and tell that I changed. Look at all the amazing people I met. It doesn't really matter, right? Because I set that goal, and when I didn't reach that goal, I felt rejected. And I didn't deal with that rejection too well. So, how many more questions we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, you 4. Really? Really? You gonna wait till I get to 4, bro? No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll start with B. Dan. Get your question.
A few questions.
We'll try to be quick.
Yeah.
We'll try to be quick.
4 or 5.
Alright, let's go.
My first one was, how long did it take to develop your own voice in dance?
Okay. I'll do that. Alright, cool.
How long did it take to develop my own voice in dance? As long as it took me to let go of any limitation that I was giving myself. That's how long it took. So some people that's 10 years, some people that's 20 years. It could be a moment. It's really getting the courage to be honest about who you are and to allow your body to just move how it wants to move and not be in your brain worrying about moves and style and I gotta hit this way and I gotta hit on these beats.
Yeah.
Just like as long as it takes you to be able to get down and free and for real, that's as long as it takes to develop your own voice. It can happen instantly. It's just where you're at
Yeah.
in your head and in your heart. Yeah.
For me, it was literally about 2.5 years ago. Once I moved to LA, and not because of LA. I don't want people thinking, "Oh, I gotta move to LA." But what it was is I realized, and this goes back to the theme right now, is that being a great dancer has to do with how you live your life. I decided a long time ago that 2.5 years ago, that I'm no longer going to be a hidden voice in life. Because I grew up not saying the things I really needed to say. And my crew actually broke up, you know, part of because I was 1/5 of why it broke up, because I didn't speak up when I should have. You know, we're back together now, but, you know, I didn't speak up on a lot of things. So I got into a lot of trouble that I shouldn't have got into, a lot of situations. Once I decided that, okay, I'm gonna be honest and whatever I feel I'm gonna say in life, then in dance, I was honest and said whatever I felt I wanted to say. So it just goes back to the idea that you have to be honest with yourself and who you are in life in order to make that change and find that voice. And like she said, it can happen anytime. It took me about, it took me about 8 years. I've been dancing for 9, so it took me about 8 years.
My other one was, how did you break away from other dancers' influences pertaining to learning a new style? So say, if I was learning a new style, say I was like learning how to house, because I'm a hunter, and I'm learning how to house. And my biggest influence maybe is like animal in house. And my definition of being a good houser is being like animal. So as someone entering a new style, how do they break away from, oh, well, good is how I express myself, you know? Instead of being like, oh, well, maybe I'm like this certain houser and this houser, you know? So how does someone that's starting a new style want to like learn how to break away earlier rather than later? You know what I'm saying?
You can't, I mean, I'm gonna be, in my personal opinion, I don't think you can control that. Work towards it, but I think it comes when it comes, because a lot of it comes with maturing in your dance. Like I started off copying Khalif in house, and then after Khalif, I started copying Ejo, you know, and then after Ejo, maybe somebody, I don't know, but like I started off emulating people because I had no idea what the style was, and then from emulating them, I started. What I did like to focus on, what I did like to constantly chase, was the feeling of being thoughtless, because I would have moments when I would go to New York and I would have these moments of just being thoughtless, and it would feel so good, and everybody would be like, oh, you look so great. I don't remember what I did, but it just felt so good, you know. So learn, take the classes, learn from, you know, the people that you look up to, because they're going to give you tools that you can use, but explore others. Like Animal might be your biggest influence, but then ask him who his influences were, because his influences make him who he is. And then when you ask who his influences were and you find them, then figure out who theirs were. And if you can't find out who theirs were, watch them and get an idea of what they were. You know, and then take all that, apply what you like and what's necessary for you and your body and your makeup, and then just go out there without thought. Because when you train something, your body knows how to do it, and so it's going to come out, and it's going to come out in a natural, very natural way. I always say, don't project dance. There's no need to project dance. You just live it. You just live it and feel it, and. Like I said, it doesn't always come as quick as you want it. You can't control that. That's the universe. All we have domain over is our thoughts and our intention. The universe is domain over time, the when and the where.
Yeah. I would agree with that, and I would say that you know, let's say there's, you know, this guy, this house step, right? There's you can learn that from watching a certain person, but the feeling that's going on in you, that is what makes you you. No one else has your feeling. So applying your feeling and what feels good to you to any step you learn, that's gonna make it yours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?